This is the Vivo V23 Pro. Vivo's newest premium mid-ranger is quite the looker, and in comparison to its non-Pro sibling, it's a little bit bigger, has a more powerful chipset, and has a high-resolution main camera on the back. So should this be your next phone? I'm Angie for GSM Arena, and this is my review of the Vivo V23 Pro. The Vivo V23 lineup has a singular design aesthetic, with a recognizable camera island and a unique sunshine gold paint job. Its special UV-reactive dye changes the phone's color from a golden color to a blue-green hue when exposed to UV rays. The process can take from under a minute to a few minutes depending on how much ambient light there is. You can also play around with the process and stick a stencil on it, but it'll fade relatively quickly. In any case, it's a fun design element. If you prefer a more subtle variant, the V23 Pro also comes in Stardust Black. Other than that, the V23 Pro has a curved AMOLED display and thinner and curvier sides. It's already a thin phone, so this curve makes it both look and feel even thinner than that. The V23 is rather light for its size too. On the front, Vivo is using Shot Sensation Alpha Glass, which is said to offer a similar level of protection to Gorilla Glass Victus. Unfortunately, there's no formal Ingress protection rating. At the top of the display, there is a notch housing a dual selfie setup. There are two dedicated LED selfie lights to its sides too. The notch's size is reasonable and it doesn't clash with the rest of the design. A little further down, you'll find an optical under-display fingerprint reader that is snappy and reliable. While the curved display looks very striking, the AMOLED panel itself is decent but not spectacular. The 6.5-inch panel has a Full HD resolution and a good pixel density of around 398 ppi. The V23 Pro has a few refresh rate options too. You can set it to a static 60Hz, a static 90Hz, or use the auto refresh rate. We don't really recommend the auto option as it worked randomly, and if you want to enjoy high refresh rate gaming, your best bet is to select the 90Hz option. While the panel gets decent, though uninspired 463 nits of max brightness with the slider, the auto brightness gets you an excellent 798 nits of brightness. This means it's very usable outdoors. Color accuracy is alright, but not amazing. The phone has 3 color modes, and while Professional is the most accurate of the 3, all of them have a colder bluish tint. The Vivo V23 Pro has HDR10+ support and the highest possible Widevine L1 DRM certification. While there's no HDR content from Netflix yet, YouTube was fine. The phone has a single bottom-firing speaker. It had average loudness and okay sound quality.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
While the phone supports Bluetooth 5.2, it doesn't have NFC, which might be important to those who use it for easy wireless connectivity or contactless payments. The phone has a 4,300 mAh battery, and though it's not the biggest around, the V23 Pro got a respectable 110 hours of endurance. The 44-watt flash charger the phone comes with is excellent. It got the phone from 0 to 65% in half an hour, and it needed a little less than an hour to get a full charge. The phone comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 1200 and either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. The chipset is one of the best MediaTek has to offer, and while the Snapdragon 870 outpaces the Dimensity 1200 consistently, it's not by a lot. It's comparable to Qualcomm's newer chipsets, like the Snapdragon 780 or the 778G. The phone gets warm after longer gaming sessions, but it doesn't get uncomfortable to hold. There were also no sharp drops in performance. Rather, the phone gently dials it back. Overall, we have no complaints as far as performance is concerned. The phone can readily handle both gaming and day-to-day tasks. On the software side of things, the V23 Pro has Funtouch OS 12, now on Android 12. It's a fluid and snappy OS, and you can see touches of the new Android core, like the green notification dot indicating when the camera or mic are in use, and the increased animations on most UI components. That said, Funtouch is far from stock Android, and it offers you its own flair and tons of customization options. You can choose between a myriad of always-on display settings, multiple customizable aspects of your home screen and lock screen, and various animation effects. You can hold down the volume key to either launch the camera app, turn the torch on or off, or start recording audio. Some of the new Funtouch elements are very useful, like the system menus being tailored for more single-hand use, the default widgets being more intuitive and easier to use, and the app drawer having expanded recommended apps categories. Other things are more subtle, like the revamped notification shade, which now has square-shaped quick toggles. There are so many features that honestly it can get a little overwhelming. Vivo should have organized them a little bit better so that they're easier to find and so that you know that they're there. The V23 Pro comes with a potent triple camera setup on the back. It has a large 108 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide, and a 2 megapixel macro cam. It's clear that Vivo is focusing on videography prowess, but it's disappointing that there's no OIS or fancy autofocus on the main camera, only phase detection autofocus. During the day, photos with the main camera are great. They have plenty of detail and a wide dynamic range. Shots are vibrant, which makes them lively, but they might be a little too saturated for some tastes. There's no dedicated telecamera on this phone, but 2x zoom shots look quite good as long as you don't inspect them from too close. The ultra-wide camera produces nice photos too, with similarly boosted colors. The level of detail is not the same and there is some over-sharpening going on, but it's still okay. In low light, the V23 Pro has plenty of detail and suppresses noise well. Color saturation is nice and everything looks nice and sharp. Shots with it don't differ too drastically from the regular low light snaps that the V23 Pro captures, but they are just a tad sharper and clearer. The ultra-wide shots have a nice dynamic range as well, and color saturation is well preserved too. The photos, however, are overly soft. With night mode on, the photos look cleaner and the exposure is brighter. However, a closer look reveals somewhat heavier processing and over-sharpening in particular. The macro camera had decent detail for its resolution and gets the job done, but it's nothing special. In comparison to many other companies which tend to slap a weak camera on the front of their phones, you can tell that Vivo takes selfies seriously. The phone has a 50 megapixel main camera on the front and a secondary 8 megapixel wide camera. The 50 megapixel snapper takes excellent stills. Detail and dynamic range were great, colors look natural, and there's even some nice natural bokeh in the background. At night, this camera has excellent performance. There's plenty of detail, dynamic range is wide, and noise is absent. Everything is sharp too. You can also use the spotlight LEDs near the notch. They're great for illuminating your face and boost the quality of photos taken in low light. Skin tones come out quite nice with them. The 8 megapixel camera has a fixed focus plane that is fairly wide. It has washed out colors and a narrower dynamic range, but if we weren't comparing it to the main selfie camera, we'd still consider it a solid yet unimpressive front camera. The main selfie camera takes fantastic videos. This makes the V23 Pro a stellar vlogging device. However, footage from the ultra-wide on the front is less thrilling. Videos with the main camera on the back had plenty of detail, nice colors, and balanced processing. Autofocus was a bit slow, but reliable overall. Full HD videos with the ultra-wide camera on the back are a little too soft. Detail isn't too bad for the resolution, and the dynamic range is alright. There is a super steady mode in the main camera that's capped at Full HD. It smooths out the video, but it's not perfect. We prefer the regular EIS. The Vivo V23 Pro is clearly a unique device that is targeting content creators with those great front-facing cameras. It has fantastic looks, a good display, great charging and good battery life, and a good chipset. Unfortunately, price-wise, the Vivo V23 Pro is anything but cheap, and there are more well-rounded premium mid-rangers out there, like the Xiaomi 11i. If content creation for social media is your thing, then the Vivo V23 Pro might actually make sense to buy. But if you're after the best overall value, then you might want to take a look at some other phones first. Thank you for watching, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.